And yes, the pretty face of Miss Kate Zora, who another Houston team that made it to the state championship match. I was kind of joking with Ryan Mitchell earlier. I said, you're kind of carrying the banner for DFW this year. I said, you got 3 Houston teams that'll be taking the court on Saturday. And I said, all females, and they're all very proud of their community. So, Houston well represented this year.
Yeah, super proud of Houston. Go H-Town.
Well, and obviously super proud of your Klein Bearcats as well. A monster in Flower Mound the other day to make it to the state championship match. Talk about that match and talk about how, we talked about 2 years ago even, this program, the Klein program, had a chance to get to state, had a chance to win the state championship. And, here you are on the cusp of one match away from doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. The development of this program over the last 6 years since I've been here, the first year I got there, it was like, oh, we made it to the playoffs. Like, that was the excitement of the program. And then year 2, it was like, oh, sweet, we're going to win 1 game. And so that was like the epitome of like, that's what they like, oh, that's what we're going to do, and,
right.
Then you get to like year 2, year 3, and then like by the time we got to year 3, finally it was like, no, we're ready to stop with this 1 and 2 games. Like we want to set our goals a little bit higher than that. And so that's been really, really solid. Making the regional tournament the last 4 years, that's been exciting. Obviously every year, everybody wants to like elevate past what they did the year before, and so you go into off season and you work hard and you try to say, hey, we're going to do things a little bit better. I mean, obviously there's something you can put before you and say, well, we didn't win it, so what was it that we needed to be able to go farther? So that was just something that we wanted to do. That's always been your goal. I mean, everybody talks about that. Probably almost every team, that, hey, let's go try to win a state championship, And so there's a lot of teams that have a lot of goals like that. And I think it's really exciting that that's kind of become our culture now of where, goal setting, that's on the table, and it's a little bit more realistic than it was 5-6 years ago. So that's really encouraging.
It's funny, not to keep bringing Ryan Mitchell up, but he's won 6 state championships at Lovejoy, and takes each one of them individually and never takes it for granted. Bridget Peterson, one of my favorites at Liberty Hill, she's been to state 3 or 4 times. Hasn't won it, but has been there. And you think of all the coaches, and you're very into the storied history of volleyball. Their coaches, I know of a couple coaches have 800 career wins, never made it to the regional finals.
Yeah.
To be at this level, it takes something extra.
It does. It really does. I mean, from the hours that you put in as a coach, but also the hours that the kids want to commit, the relationships you have to build with those players. Like, I think someone asked me, they're like, well, what do you really focus on? And I'm like, I would consider myself like a pretty good scout coach, like a pretty good video nerd. But I also like heard maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it was a seminar that I listened to John Dunning from Stanford. And he retired a couple years ago, but he'd made a comment that kind of stuck with me. And it was the idea that like, you need to have a meeting, and not like a sit down, like, hey, come in my office kind of meeting, but like you need to meet with your players, your staff, your trainers, your manager, like everybody. Try to do it like at least once a week with each person. And he was like, it's pretty challenging because it's hard to fit everybody in there, but just like, like as we're warming up, you just walk around and be like, hey dude, how's your day been? And just something as simple as that, like just kind of fosters that kind of relationship. And so I think the relationships is the biggest thing for us that has really kind of blossomed over the last couple of years. That's been more of our focus than really any technical thing or any drill that we've kind of run. Like, it really hasn't been practice playing of it. We put a lot of focus on really just kind of developing that relationship. And I mean, the kids know we care, and so that's
right.
That's been important for us.
What, obviously asking every coach, what have the challenges of the pandemic been, and were you affected by the pandemic and COVID?
Yeah. Early on, as we were kind of not testing our feet, but like early on where nobody really knew how to handle it. Like everyone was trying to guess at how to handle it.
Right.
I mean, we're actually going to put our kids on a bus for the first time the whole year. We haven't put our kids on a bus since like the first or second week of the season, and it happened off of our sub-varsity bus. And so, where there was exposure and then contact tracing with that. And luckily it was only like some managers that got contact traced on it, but it just was kind of like a wake up call. And so we've had to do a lot of different process things where I've told my assistants, like, I'll help you as much as I can, but like, we're going to have to operate pretty separate. You know, it just kind of sucks. The part that kind of also kind of sucks with it is just the idea of team building. Like, you want to keep it as normal as possible and have the team dinners, but we haven't done one team dinner all year because we were scared. We didn't want to chance anything. So
right. Yeah, you can't take that chance because God knows how many times.
You don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we play the game. As soon as we have to go shack a ball, they pull their mask up, you know, and it's like a constant battle. I mean, I've got zits on my face from the amount of times that I've worn my mask. So it's like, I mean, I think the kids have been super disciplined with everything. And, you know, like, I wanted to try to make the state tournament as normal as possible, but also as safe as possible for them. And so I think we're really excited for this weekend to be able to kind of hang out with one another a little bit more, because we haven't had those team dinners or social events that we've kind of done in the past.
Right. And, you know, again, it being 2020, the way things are, you know, we would have been up at Garland by now. You know, you'd have the summer and then the finals, and, you know, you'd have 1 through 6A there. But as it is this weekend, noon and 3 o'clock scheduled time. That's it. One day.
Yeah, I remember being that person that would be like, okay, I'm going to sit in the stands, front row, and I'm going to watch like 6 rounds of volleyball. I mean, I would do that with like, there was like 5 or 6 friends. We would do that every year. And so, I mean, that part's exciting. But yeah, it's going to be different. And like, even the things that they're having to put in there for safety for this weekend, you know, I hope it still is fun. Like,
yeah,
I want the kids to be able to still have that full experience, because I mean, we're lucky to be there. It doesn't happen all the time, and so I just want them to be able to have as much of the experience as possible.
Yeah. 2 teams left. You're one of them. I mean,
I know.
You know, and really, you know, coming out of last year, you mentioned the fact that you really thought your team should make a run, and you weren't bragging. It was just a confidence factor. But especially with the challenges that 2020 has thrown at you, how does it feel to be one of the last 2 teams standing?
Well, there's a lot of different things that are thrown at you this year. It's not just like go play the game kind of challenge. Like, you've got everything kind of. I mean, everything from like, can I fit everybody in that wants a ticket? You know, like, that's what I'm worried about this weekend, is like making sure every mom and dad have their ticket. And so just those kind of things have made things a little bit more challenging. And, you know, I know a lot of people are going to have to like stream the game for Saturday. And so that part's kind of frustrating, but it's also kind of fun too, because you're seeing like watch parties going on, or little, you know, families watching parties. I'd actually gotten an email, and this was really cute, from this mom, and these 4 little girls have been kind of following our team to each of the playoff games, and so that part's been really cute. And they sent the team a bunch of pictures, and she's talking about how they had Twitter stalked us, and, you know, like just all the fun, cool stuff. And I told the girls, like, you know, like, there's a lot of eyes on you, so you got to make sure that you're always doing right, you know, because people do look up to you. So don't take that for granted.
Boy, that's a great example right there for sure. So this team we talked about, I mean, you know, my favorite, Devin Taylor. She's just a phenomenal player. Annie Antar, Cammie Kling, Gabby Mansfield, who's the libero, Kirsten McFall. All these girls, I mean, just the depth of talent in your team is phenomenal. Talk about
it. And you forgot our big kill leader. Yeah. We got Ari Brown, we got Michaela Sampson, Abby Sweeney. I think what is most helpful about our team is we put egos aside. Nobody's really worried about like Yeah, I mean, of course, stats and recognitions are kind of nice always, but like at the same time, like we just want to win. You know, we
Mhm.
just want to do what's best for the team, and we're not dependent on one or two people. We would
Right.
never want to be like that's never been my coaching style. To
Right.
have like send 200 sets to a kid in one night. Like I don't. I played in college like that, and that girl cried because her shoulder couldn't be lifted above her.
Ugh.
Like I don't want to see that for anyone. But also, like I feel like everybody's got talent, and so having a balanced attack, having great defense, I think that's a big staple of this team this year. And so we've got a lot of different weapons and a lot of kids that step up. Like the state semifinal, we had Abby Sweeney step up on the right side, and so we've had a lot of different contributors on different nights that have all done really great things. So we're not really dependent on just one person and that one person having to like come through night after night after night. So I think
Well,
that's encouraging.
your team's too talented to have to worry about one person. It's amazing the talent.
Yeah, yeah. And the sad part is I have talent on the bench that like is really strong too. Like I've got a couple hitters on the bench that like probably cry because I don't get to go in. And they're going to be super studs for the next couple of years after this. But we've got a lot of depth, and I think that's made us as a team much stronger because you can go into scrimmages every day, and we never play starters against non-starters or anything like that. But we're always trying to push one another, and so I think that's kind of, I don't know, what do they call that? Raising the cream, or bringing the
Cream
boat up, or I don't even know what that quote is.
setting the bar.
Yeah, but it like rises everybody up. So
Yeah.
like, the bottom talent even comes up a lot more because you have the higher talent and the middle talent trying to meet the top, because the expectations are high.
Right. Your dad.
Yeah.
I'll let you go into that. It's
Yeah.
just great. I mean, well, it's sad and great at the same time. Come on, you say it. Come on.
I
Now.
know. Sorry, I cry a little bit.
That's okay.
He was always, I think, let's see, in 18 years of coaching so far, one match he missed. One match. So.
And now he's looking down. He's with you every.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm getting text after the game, and the kids are like, I felt his presence. I felt his presence. And I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah.
We all loved him.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Besides, obviously, your dad, how excited is your community?
Oh my God. So, like, we're a big town, right? Houston.
Right.
But then there's Klein, Texas, inside the middle of that small town. And what's really nice is that you get all the luxury of like a big town, but you have the small town community.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been so lucky to have such great community support. And so they're super excited. And I don't think anyone's probably going to look at this until after tomorrow or anything, but it's kind of exciting because we've planned some really great things for the kids as we leave. We're going to change all the marquees on a certain way out and like escort the bus out. And, like we're going to do a lot of cool things that I think like small town America would do for their community on their way to state. And so I think that's super fun.
Mm-hmm.
And district's been super supportive with everything. And, it's nice to have that kind of support backing you. And, like we've had cheer at every single one of our playoff games and all throughout the season. And man, our stand leaders, like the ones that are dressed in yellow with the crazy high tops, like unreal difference changer. And so I know that for us, like we always take our playoff photo with everybody. And so if you look at our playoff photo after we win a match, like it's never just the team. It's got sub varsity and cheerleaders and stand leaders, and it's like hard to fit everybody in, but we believe it takes everybody to win, and so that's been really helpful.
Right.
So.
So everybody's proud in the Houston area, especially, it's an all Houston 6A
Yeah.
championship match. But once you guys actually start first serve, that kind of goes by the wayside, and now you're playing for your team, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure. You can't like divide the city in half and be like blue versus white, or I don't know. I think they're doing a white out. I think we're doing a blue out. I don't know. It's gonna be fun. It'll be a good game.
Right.
But I don't know. You could tell like the other night my kids had some nerves at the front. And Flower Mound's good. I mean, they're super solid. You got some pretty studly offensive weapons over there. And so we knew it was tough, and I was like, you guys got to serve better. I can't help you on that one. Like, you got to serve better, pull them off the net, and like, y'all got to block better than you've ever blocked this season. And they're just a team that rises to the challenge. Like, if I say like you got to do this, they're like, yes, ma'am, we got it. We're gonna do it. And so that's the really cool part is their coachability is like off the charts, and you really have to have. I mean, more than anything else, you got to put ego aside, and you got to have teamwork and compatibility and all that kind of good stuff. And so I think that's been really, really helpful for us this season.
So let's talk about Amy Cataline's Seven Lake squad. I mean, obviously everybody knows Allie Badenhorst. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
She'll be the first to tell you that her team's a lot more than that. And obviously it shows you don't get to a state championship these days in volleyball with one player. It just doesn't. So what do you got to do to beat them?
I'm not telling you that. Just kidding. Well, I'm not going to tell you all the specifics.
Of course not. I wouldn't expect.
No, I mean, I know a lot of those kids from Katy, because a couple years ago I coached over in Katy, and so I know their middle Mayo, I know their right side Emma, and so like there's a lot of kids off that squad that I do know. That's kind of helpful. And so we're going to do a lot of scout film on them, and we as a team, we watch a lot of scout film together. I've made them all video nerds, and so they get in there and they try to watch. I try to watch at least 5 to 7 films on every opponent. So I try to feel like I know that team as well as that coach knows their own team. And so the kids usually do the same because it's all available to them. And so a lot of them will log hours and hours and hours of watching, which I think gives you confidence. And so, we try to be able to look and see what looks we're going to have from each position offensively and where we can be successful on it. I mean, obviously we want to be able to serve tough. We need to be able to pull Allie off the net a little bit more, so she's not being able to swing straight down on the ball. Allie's going to get her kills, and so we just want to contain it as much as we can and as best as we can. I know my defense, they're going to try the best that they can to be able to dig that ball. And so that's all that really matters is the effort and the hustle. And so we're just going to do the best that we can to kind of circumvent that. And I don't know, we'll try to do our best.
So between Amy and Sydney Gocher out at Fulshire, who you know, which one looks younger between the two of them? I tell Sydney all the time. I interviewed her today. It's like, God, you still look 14 and 15, She just, they look so young.
Yeah.
God. That's too funny.
I always get like late 20s too. So it's, everyone's like, you're 42? And I was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah, you don't.
I always love it when I get carded. That's awesome. To go to the movie theater, you're like, really? You think I'm 18 to get into the movie theater? Okay, cool.
I love that.
I'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I let the coaches go, I was giving them a chance because I know coaches love doing it. Folks that deserve a lot of credit but may not get the publicity that, may not get the love that they deserve, give you, minutes here to give shout outs and to give some love to the folks that, get the attention they deserve.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said before, we've got a lot of good strength across the board. We've got strength even on our bench, and I love that our kids are very supportive from the bench to the people that are on the court. Obviously we have not giving away any secrets or anything
Of
right
course
here,
not.
but Ari and Devin on the outside. Ari's nicknamed the Texas Hammer, and so she's a freaking stud out there. She's really kind of developed our game into a 6 rotation outside and become a little bit more shotty, so she's not all just power like she was last year, and so she's really worked hard in her game there. In the middle, we've got Michaela Sampson and Kirsten McFall, and then we had a really strong freshman that touches like 10-2 as their backup, and she's the one that I know she wants to be on the court super bad, and she's going to be on that court next year for sure, and definitely jumps out of the gym. So I'm super excited about Zoe Humphrey. On the right side, we got Annie. She's playing all the way around, hitting and setting. Annie Antar, and then Candy Kling's doing a great job too. It's kind of nice to have 2 5'10" setters to be able to get up there and jump set. So any ball that's maybe a little bit tight is able to keep ourselves in system, and they're doing a great job as far as delivering and making decisions on offense. Abby Sweeney's kind of our spark plug. She has been for 4 years. She's the energy person on the court, but she came up huge in our last game. Offensively, being able to put the ball away and being aggressive and getting a couple blocks for us. Her backup is Lydia Masusin, and she'd be coming in if Abby wasn't ready to go. And so we've got a lot of strength across the board. We've got a serving specialist in senior Tara Warner. She comes in for our middles, and so we've got a lot of strength all the way across the board. And then of course our backcourt with Gabby Mansfield. So we've got a good solid group. And of course, like I said, our bench is super, super awesome. And that's why that's made our starters a whole lot better, is because we can constantly have competition in practice for sure.
Right. And real quick, talk about your assistant coaches, your administrators, that, your community overall, the parents especially, that have helped you get through the season.
Yeah, definitely. I have a great campus coordinator in Coach Hallmark, and he's our head football coach and coordinator on campus. And Darby Young and Derek Kuntz, who are at the district level, they've been super helpful in the postseason and all throughout the season with their support. Kind of in what I'd call our back office is Angie Sloan. She's our athletic secretary, and probably the person that I talk to at 6:45 in the morning every morning. And so she's super helpful. Our girls coordinator with Jessie Lang, she's been helpful as we've kind of transitioned into new assistants with Adriana Ferris and Paige Janes. And so that's been a great kind of backbone to the program that kind of helps keep everything kind of running smoothly. And they work super duper hard for us. And so I'm super proud of that. And like I said, we get help all the way up the chain. And so between our principal at Brandon Baker and even at the district level, between our superintendent and her assistants. And so we've had a lot of good help all the way across the board. And I really feel like everybody's on the same team. And that's really the most important thing, is that we're all kind of jiving towards the same goal, and everybody's just supportive and how can I help? And so that's the biggest thing, is everybody's moving along on the same set of tracks, and so that's helpful for sure.
Well, enjoy the fun send-offs and all the stuff that's going to be going on that the girls will have fun with, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Have a great trip, and
Thank
obviously good luck on Saturday.
Awesome. Thank you.